You know that feeling when someone gives you a high five, or says, "Nice job," or even just looks at you like you exist? Yeah, that tiny burst of "I'm not invisible" is what psychologists call an emotional stroke. And no, it has nothing to do with medical emergencies or painting. Emotional strokes are basically how we say "I see you" to each other as human beings, and we're all desperately hungry for them, whether we realize it or not. So today, we're diving into the 6 types of emotional strokes that shape your life without you even noticing. And yes, you've probably been craving these since you were a kid. Some people chase them through social media likes, others through passive-aggressive comments at Thanksgiving dinner. Either way, buckle up, because once you learn about these strokes, you'll start to see them everywhere. In relationships, at work, in your awkward conversations with your neighbor who always forgets your name. Let's start with a quick story. Imagine a kid, we'll call him Little Max, who draws a purple dinosaur with 3 eyes and proudly shows it to his mom. She says, "Wow, that's amazing. That's a stroke. A good one. A positive verbal conditional stroke to be precise." Then Dad walks in, glances at the drawing, and says nothing. That's silence. That's the absence of a stroke. And believe it or not, it can be more damaging than a negative one. Max's brain goes, "Oh, maybe I shouldn't draw anymore." Fast forward 20 years, and Max is an adult who deletes his Instagram posts if they don't get enough likes in 10 minutes. Coincidence? I think not. Emotional strokes are the fuel for our self-worth engines. Now, let's break them down, one stroke at a time. First up, physical strokes. This one's the most obvious. Hugs, pats on the back, high fives, fist bumps, holding hands, shoulder squeezes, all that good stuff. We start needing these the moment we're born. Literally, newborns who aren't touched can suffer serious developmental problems. But as we grow older, society gets weird about touch. Suddenly it's like hugging at work. No. So we replace physical strokes with awkward side nods and finger guns. But here's the thing, humans are wired for touch. A well-timed pat on the back can sometimes say more than 1,000 motivational quotes. And it's not just about romance. Friends, coworkers, even pets can deliver the physical strokes we need. Ever seen someone cry, and then their dog just puts a paw on their knee? That's a stroke. Or think about when your friend bumps shoulders with you and laughs at your joke. That little contact is more powerful than most people think. Some people go to the barber not just for a haircut, but for the gentle touch on their head that makes them feel human. Even a toddler handing you a sticky toy and sitting on your foot is saying, "I like you. You're my person." We need that. We crave it. Physical strokes say, "You exist, and I like that you do." Okay, moving on to the second type, verbal strokes. These are the ones that come through words, spoken, written, or yelled across a parking lot. "I'm proud of you. I see how hard you're trying. You've got spinach in your teeth." All verbal strokes. They're about attention, acknowledgement, and connection. And guess what? Even sarcasm counts. When your friend says, "Oh wow, look who finally showed up," it's a weird little stroke. They noticed you. Verbal strokes can lift someone's day or ruin it. That's why some people remember compliments from years ago, and also why one snarky comment from a middle school gym teacher can haunt you forever. Words matter, and the more specific the better. "You're amazing" is nice, but "you handled that difficult conversation with so much grace" hits deeper. Imagine someone telling you, "Hey, the way you listen when people talk, it makes them feel really heard." That's not just a stroke. That's a verbal hug wrapped in gold. Verbal strokes are like little breadcrumbs of validation, and we're all Hansel and Gretel out here, chasing them through the forest of daily life. And let's not forget digital verbal strokes. Texts, DMs, even the infamous thumbs up emoji. In the world of remote work and long-distance relationships, emojis are sometimes all we've got. Ready for the third type? Say hello to positive strokes. These are the good ones. The feel-good fuzzies, a smile, a thank you, a "you rock." They reinforce our sense of value and make us want to keep doing whatever just got recognized. Kids, especially, need a ton of these. But here's the plot twist. Adults need them too. You'd be amazed how many grown-ups walk around emotionally starving because no one ever says, "Hey, I see you doing your best." Positive strokes don't have to be huge either. A quick, nice haircut or "thanks for taking out the trash" can go a long way. The problem? We're often stingy with them. We think, they already know I appreciate them. But nope. People need to hear it. Frequently. Out loud. Preferably with a smile. Positive strokes are the emotional vitamins of human connection. Think of it like this. If a relationship were a house, positive strokes would be the bricks. Miss enough bricks and the walls start to wobble. Give a stranger a genuine compliment and watch their whole face change. Tell your coworker they made that meeting more bearable, and suddenly you're their favorite person. Compliments are free. Kindness costs nothing. So why are we so stingy? Let's normalize being generous with praise. You don't lose anything by saying something kind. In fact, you probably just made someone's week. Now for their darker sibling. Negative strokes. I know. Nobody likes these, but they still count. A negative stroke is any kind of recognition that doesn't feel good. Criticism, disapproval, rolling your eyes so hard they make a sound. But here's the wild part. In the world of emotional strokes, even a bad one is better than none. That's why kids sometimes act out. They'd rather get yelled at than ignored. It's like, hey, at least you saw me. We are so recognition hungry that we'll sometimes accept negative strokes just to feel visible. This is where things can get messy in relationships. People start drama, pick fights, or say shocking things, not always because they're bad people, but because they're desperate for a response. The key is learning to recognize this pattern and shift it. Instead of punishing people with silence or sarcasm, what if we gave more honest, kind, positive strokes instead? That boss who only speaks up when you mess up. That's training you to crave negative strokes. Eventually, some people become addicted to criticism because at least it feels familiar. But you don't have to live in a world where attention equals pain. Start by noticing when people are reaching out through negativity and offer something better. A little kindness can interrupt a whole pattern of self-sabotage. All right, halfway there. Let's talk about conditional strokes. These are the ones you get for doing something. You cleaned the kitchen? Gold star? You finished your project early? Praise shower incoming. Conditional strokes are performance-based. They say you're valuable because you did X. And hey, these aren't bad. They motivate us and reinforce behavior. But if they're the only kind we get, we start tying our self-worth to achievement. That's how you end up with adults who can't rest unless they're being productive, or who feel worthless when they're not winning something. The danger of only receiving conditional strokes is that they create perfectionists, workaholics, and people who can't relax on vacation without checking their email, just in case. Imagine a child who only gets praised when they get an A or score a goal. Eventually, that child believes they're only lovable when they succeed. Later in life, they become the overachiever who's afraid to fail, not because they fear failure, but because they fear invisibility. Conditional strokes are useful, but they should never replace love. Tell someone they did a good job, yes, but also tell them they're valued even when they flop. Which brings us to our final type, unconditional strokes. These are the holy grail. The pure, wholesome, no strings attached strokes. I love you just because you exist. I'm glad you're here. You matter to me. No performance needed. You don't have to be funny, smart, helpful, productive, or even awake. You just get the stroke for being you. Unconditional strokes are what build deep trust and emotional security. They're what kids need most and what adults secretly still crave. They're also the hardest to give sometimes, because we're so used to linking recognition with actions. But when someone offers you one, really offers it, it's unforgettable. Think of the friend who texts you out of nowhere to say they appreciate you, or the parent who says they're proud of you, not for what you did, but for who you are. Or your dog, who looks at you like you're the greatest creature alive, even when you've just spilled cereal on yourself. Those are the strokes that heal old wounds. And here's the kicker. you can give them to yourself too. Yep, self-strokes are a thing. Telling yourself, I'm enough, or I handled that well, or even just I'm allowed to rest can rewire how you see yourself. Take 5 minutes to look in the mirror and say something kind to your reflection. It'll feel weird, but it's medicine. Write yourself a love note. Wear clothes that make you feel good. Rest without guilt. All these are strokes you can give yourself, and you should. So now you know. The 6 types of emotional strokes: physical, verbal, positive, negative, conditional, and unconditional. They're the building blocks of how we relate to others and how we feel seen. They shape our self-esteem, our relationships, our workplaces, and even our Instagram habits. And most of the time, we don't even realize it. But now that you do, you can start spotting them everywhere. And better yet, you can start giving them. Today, tell someone they matter. Compliment a stranger's shirt. Give your dog a high five. Text your mom, and most importantly, give yourself a little stroke too. You deserve it. And hey, if no one's told you today, you're doing great. Thanks for watching.